Welcome back, kiddos. Pull up a chair. Listen well. I come to you bearing gifts. Wait, no, that's not right. Hold on a second. Ah, there it is. I come to you bearing a list of requests that could improve the game in light of new creative changes. Most of these are likely going to be phrased in a way that seems like I'm addressing developers. Realistically, I just want to get the ball rolling in the case that a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy hears something and it manages to drop in the developer's lap through the grapevine. As usual, we've got some updates in case you haven't played in a little while as well. It's nearing the end of the month, which likely means we are emerging out of our period of stagnation and getting back into business, but I won't lie to you. This place is feeling kind of empty. The end of this video may be weird as well, but there's going to be a minute or two talking about Warhammer, even though I've got hours worth of thoughts on the matter after finally taking a peek at it a few days ago. I'm going to try to make it concise. Let's get you all caught up on where the war is for the time being. We were on a bit of a bad luck streak. We had failed 3 consecutive major orders, a liberation and 2 kill counters if I remember correctly, and now we have liberated a planet, which is good. The reward for securing Virillia 5 was the construction of a new variant of mech suits equipped with 4 autocannons. I don't think we should come to expect future major orders to be so far out of reach as the last 3 were. I'm pretty sure it's management figuring out where exactly we're sitting numbers-wise and what we're still capable of after having that giant punch to player count at the hands of Sony. Now that they're starting to get a better grip on where exactly everything is sitting at in the aftermath, they seem to be actively tweaking planetary percentage decay rates frequently in accordance to slow down or speed up progress. Not exactly sure how you'd do this in regards to a kill count mission, as that seems more like a static objective, but the more I think about it, they could do it the same way they changed the numbering system for eradication missions into a percentage, albeit without seeing the satisfaction of the big number. Then again, they could always just tell us the kill count once the major order is finished for the sake of our own satisfaction. In any case, I'm pretty sure they were going to force this mech through pretty much inevitably. Just for the sake of good press, if nothing else, even though some people are going to have problems with it because, obviously, bigger targets aren't great in bots where you have to deal with cannons and missiles. Either way, we got a new mech. It's worth trying out if you have the money to spare. I think it's kind of fun. Another thing I have been notified of is that progressing off to the side is some manner of super colony terminid happenings, which, if I'm being entirely honest with you, only interests me for one reason in particular. I have heard from so many sources that I've forgotten where I originally got word from that the Illuminate should be coming sooner rather than later. For those of you that are uninformed, it's basically just a bunch of humanoid squids that figured out how to epitomize technology. The reason these two tie together is that they are rumored to be making their entrance once we destroy a planet. The planet in question is most likely going to be Meridia. Either that or we're probably going to get some new bugs to fight on it, because it's pretty much been listed as an unsalvageable hellscape. Either way, start sharpening your knives, because weird stuff should be coming soon. I'm pretty sure they can tell we're getting restless. Now, this wouldn't be a request for armaments and equipment from me if it didn't start off with me asking for a proper bolt-action rifle. And I know some of you are going to say, well, what about the Eruptor? Which is technically a bolt gun. But that thing sucks. No, I'm not just speaking about the recent changes for damage output. A paraplegic, generally upset 3-toed sloth would be a faster instrument of destruction than that thing. When I say bolt-action rifle, I want you to go look at the beauty that is a Che-tac intervention. I don't care if the bolt action is slow, I don't even care if I have to become immobile to chamber my next round. If we make this happen, I'll never say anything negative about this game again. Maybe. I want to hear the sound of a proper bolt being manipulated as well, not that glorified Nerf charging handle on the AMR. The trade-off for all of this is simple. When it hits a critical, it pretty much becomes the scene from The Dark Knight Rises, when Bane lifts Batman over his head and breaks his spine in half. I wanted to kick like that time I was 12 and I got lost in a cornfield, then had to fist fight a cow. That's all for weapons this time around. I'm gonna sit back and let the devs cook up their new war bond so I don't end up asking for something that's gonna exist already. Sorry, one last thing. Would someone please do us the kindness of incorporating more statistics into weaponry, and at an extension of that being, we are able to receive statistic layouts for support weapons as well? Another fun little addition that's already in the game that people would love to see more of are the free stratagems. It's like giving elementary schoolers Jolly Ranchers. It's just a little thing that they'll go absolutely feral for. Personally speaking, all I need is a gun and maybe a backpack, so people like me will be fine either way until you make the game harder. There's no adverse effects on us. The way I figure, why not give a little handout for those who can't? You already do it a fair bit already, so where's the harm in peppering them in a little more? Theme it on major orders, for example, giving napalm for Terminid-focused ordeals, things of that manner. Now, this next part out of everything, even that bolt action comment, is the most sensible and impactful change that could occur to the game, possibly in its history. Make patrol spawning changes make sense. I'm not talking about the numbers in regards to solos versus squads. We know those are buggy. I'm speaking specifically about what happens when you finish the main objective and destroy outposts. Patrol rate should be directly tied to fabricator or bug hole count. It makes absolutely no sense. To be honest, it makes the opposite, that by destroying things that create enemies, you have caused more enemies to wander the map. By eliminating the source of the enemy, there should be a reduction in the overall volume of their presence. Spawn increases upon completion of the main objective I also don't totally agree with, but I can come to terms with thinking that makes sense. Also, by not putting this down anywhere in plain writing, you're inadvertently screwing up a lot of newer or uninformed players. Players that don't deserve that treatment, because it's only reasonable to think that breaking things that create enemies results in lower spawns when, in actuality, it does the contrary for some reason. I'm not saying patrols should ever get to a point where there's none on the map. By all means, saturate it, but give the people reward for going out of their way and risking success. As far as right now, there's no reason to do enemy outposts. A heavy is worth 20 experience, so a single side objective is worth 2.5 times that, in addition to being much faster, and the standard player dies a few times in the process of a heavy base when, on side objectives, they usually pass. I mean, maybe you get some samples, but even then it's not that much. It's still not worth it. Apart from bug fixes, once again, this would be the single biggest and most reasonable quality of life change to occur in this game to this date. It would result in entirely new and imaginative ways of playing, and most of all, it just makes sense. Well, that's the patrol rant. If you don't want to hear the Warhammer stuff, you need not listen anymore. However, if you don't know much about it, I'd suggest sticking around because I didn't know anything as of a few days ago and I'm hyped up on it now. But if you want to play with relatively sane people, Helldivers, I mean, in an environment free of infighting and children, join the Discord server in my channel information, so long as you're over 18, and come hang out. We'd love to see you there. Okay, on to Space Marine talk. As of the past couple of days, I've been diving into Warhammer lore as it's been something I've always heard of but remained uninterested in because it was mostly centered around a tabletop game to me. But now they have a cool third-person horde shooter that got my attention. I'm not a fan yet. I am only a tourist learning all I can about this topic. And I won't be gatekept because I can become a battering ram made of stubbornness and apathy. But all this made me realize something. I'm pretty sure Helldivers, and to a lesser extent Halo, are kind of just baby Warhammer, with the added perks of being more interactive and less based on one's own imagination. I'm never going to play a tabletop version of this game, because my imagination is practically cardboard. That's out of the question. But that doesn't mean I don't have a vested interest in the story. I thought it was going to be nothing more than mindless war, with no real compelling figures, which to an extent it can be, but it's not all about heartless warmongering. There's a vast ocean of factions that anyone can resonate with. There's a bit of drama regarding some lore rewriting, but leave that for the die-hard fans to sort out while you watch YouTube videos on the different factions to see what rings true to you before you cross that bridge. From good to bad, protector to attacker, evil to righteous, there's a little something here for everyone. So if you need a new obsession or just a good, compelling storyline, I recommend you check out this roided-up version of Star Wars. Unless you find you like Nurgle. If you like Nurgle, your ass needs to be investigated and brought up on charges because you're into some weird shit, and I will not entertain any conversation as to the contrary. And I don't mean weird like a hot girl with both a nose stud and a septum piercing, because that just means you're in for a good time. I mean bad weird, like a shirtless guy talking about how he can't find the coat that he had the rats make for him out of scraps after getting him hooked on benzodiazepines. Like that kind of weird, that unsettling, like, oh, you've got problems that I can't fix. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for coming by, and I'll see you on the next one.